Hi, my name's Melissa, and I'm going to be reading about St. Dominic Savio from a book called Stories of the Saints by Carrie Wallace with pictures by Nick Thornborough. When Dominic turned 12, he was sent from his small town in Italy to a special school run by John Bosco in Turin. To get into the school, Dominic had to pass an examination by answering all the questions John Bosco asked. "What do you think of me?" Dominic said when the exam was done. "I think you're good material," John Bosco told him. "I think you're a good tailor," Dominic told him. "So, make something beautiful out of me for Jesus." Soon after Dominic got to the school, he heard a talk that said that rare, special people weren't the only ones who could become saints. God wanted everyone to become a saint. "I want to be a saint," Dominic said. Not long after that, John Bosco found rocks and wood in Dominic's bed. "What in the world is this?" John Bosco asked. "Jesus slept in a worse bed," Dominic told him, "when he was born in the stable in Bethlehem." "Take these rocks out of your bed," John Bosco told him. "But how can I please God then?" Dominic asked. "All Jesus wants is for you to obey him," John Bosco said. "Be patient with other people and with the things that happen to you in life, the heat and the cold, and the sun or the rain." "But those things happen to you no matter what you do," Dominic said. "That's right," John Bosco told him. "So offer everything that happens to you to God. Nothing will please him more than that." In chapel, the other boys sometimes caught Dominic praying out loud to God. And they noticed that he didn't just speak when he prayed. After Dominic said something to God, he'd sit quietly as if he were listening to the answer. And it seemed as if God did speak to him. One day, Dominic appeared at John Bosco's room. "Come quickly," Dominic said. "Where?" John Bosco asked. But Dominic just said, "Come quickly, come quickly." Even though Dominic was the student and John Bosco was his teacher, John Bosco followed Dominic out of the school and through the streets until Dominic stopped at the door of a small house. Dominic knocked, then ran away, leaving John Bosco standing there as the door swung open. When the people of the house saw a priest on their doorstep, they were overjoyed. Inside, a man was dying, and he had been begging desperately for a priest so he could confess. Dominic got along with the other boys at school, but they didn't always get along with each other. Two of them got into such a bad argument that they decided they could only settle it by throwing rocks at each other. "He's a rat bag," one of them called the other one. "I won't be happy until I bash his head," the other one said. Dominic was afraid they might really hurt each other. But they were both much bigger and stronger than he was. He couldn't stop them with force. So he found them after school before they could fight. "Before your fight," he said, "I want you to agree to one thing." "As long as you don't try to stop us from fighting," the boys said. "I just want to choose a place," Dominic said. So all three of them went out together to a nearby field, where both boys grabbed rocks and started to count down, ready to throw them at each other. But Dominic got between them and held up the little crucifix he wore around his neck. "Throw the first stone at me," he said, to the boy who was angriest. This was the last thing that boy expected. He started to tremble. "No," he said, "I don't have anything against you. I'd defend you from anyone." "Throw the first stone at me," Dominic said to the other boy. "You're my friend," the other boy said. "I'd never do that." "Jesus is our best friend," Dominic said. "He doesn't want us to hurt each other." By now, neither boy wanted to fight. As Dominic stood between them, they laid down their rocks. And a few days later, the two boys went to confession together and became friends again. When Dominic was only 15, he got sick, and he didn't get better. So John Bosco sent him home to be with his family. For a long time, Dominic was too sick to move, but one day he suddenly sat up. "Goodbye," he said to his father, who was sitting next to him. Then, just before he died, he smiled and said, "I am seeing such wonderful things." And after he died, he did become a saint. One of the youngest saints of all. In fact, some people said he was too young to be a saint, but the Pope said that Dominic should be called a saint because he loved God so much, even when he was so young. The end. Thank you for listening.